particular class is buyer conversion part 2. Part 1 was the call action and how we kind of technologically work with the online leads. Did you all have a chance to watch that if you weren't here for a call action? That's just stupid crazy. But today is going to be hardcore buyer conversion role play. And where are our buyers coming from right now? Who has an active buyer right now? Okay, most of us. Think in your mind, where did it come from? And then blurt it out.
Online.
Sphere.
Online. Open houses.
So the usual: Sphere, online, open house, door knock, referral, past client, family member. These are all real places where we get buyers. Yeah. So do they need to be converted even if they're friends in Sphere of Influence?
Yes. Absolutely.
Sometimes more so, right? Online conversion. All these people need to hear something. Now buyers, especially in today's market, you're going to find out are very leery. The interest rates are going up, purchase power is going down, right? They're freaking out. Oh my God, I'm buying a home at the worst time, the top of the market, and the highest interest rates available in the last how many years, right? So that's a real concern, would you agree?
Yes. Yes.
Some buyers don't care, right? They want a home for their family. They need the tax write-off. They have a spouse that says, I don't care what you say, you're buying me a house. They have reasons to buy. So thank God, people buy in every single market. It's just now we have to be a little more sensitive to their needs. And they're not in a panic as much as they were, unless you're in that under 550 range, right? They're still panicking, for good reason, because it's still cheaper to buy than rent. And that's another thing we have to talk to them about. All right, so what challenges have you guys come across in the last couple months?
Waiting for the crash.
Okay, waiting for the crash. Yeah. Now, if you guys didn't hear that, waiting for the crash, and that is great, and I've been hearing that for 2 or 3 years now. And there's nothing wrong with that. A sophisticated buyer knows that market cycle, and we all have seen it. Now, when I got in the business in 1991, it was on the way down. We had an earthquake. Horrible, right? Thank God 96 came and started going back up all the way to 2005. Crash. Now we have, what is it now? From 2011 to now, it's 7 years, 5 to 7 year cycles. If they look at history, they can almost bet, and me, I'd put money on it that the market's going to crash. Let's not use that word. Adjust, go down. People don't like when you say crash. I don't know why. It just is what it is. But I'd put money on it that that's going to happen. So now what we have to do is test the qualifications of a buyer and the motivation, right? Well, why do they want to buy?
Because they're, what you said about rent, paying $2,500 a month or higher for rent. And so now they're thinking about buying.
Right. So at California Leasing, our property management company, our average rental is $2,600. That's a big number. You know, it's what I tell tenants. I go, you can buy or you can rent. I don't care. But I'll tell you one thing: it's easier to qualify to buy from me than it is to rent from me. Right? We have very strict rules for renting. So I like to throw that in there. Sometimes it's easier to buy than rent. The process sometimes can be easier. But if they say, man, it's still cheaper or after the tax benefit to buy than rent, why wouldn't we? You look at your spouse and say, we're giving it all to the landlord. Why wouldn't we just bite the bullet and buy? It's up to us as agents to say a couple things. You're right, the market might crash. How long do you want to live in the home? 5 to 7 years, another cycle? Perfect. Let's say the market does crash hard in the next few years. You have an amazing rental opportunity, right? Santa Clarita is the absolute best, or we can just say Southern California, best place in history for rental income. It truly is. Next to San Francisco. That's the only other city in California besides LA. So you have to be able to talk to them about future investment, right? And the best thing is to do is when you talk to a buyer, you look at them in the face and say, who's paying the mortgage then? The tenant. Why do you care? Who cares if it's worth $1 or $1 million? If it's an investment property you're willing to hold on to, let some other not real savvy person pay off your mortgage. I filtered that for the camera. Right?
Good job.
But they appreciate that. They like that. They go, you know what? You're absolutely right. Then they sometimes go, well, what if the payment that I have doesn't exactly match what the rentals are. Because let's be honest, if the market goes down, the rents go down too, right? So, okay, then let's be sensitive to that. Worst case scenario, if the market went down 30% and you're paying $2,500 a month, what is that, math people? Whatever. So it's 30%, it's a few $100, right? Do you feel your job is in jeopardy? Does your income directly correspond with the market? And they all say no, unless you're us. I should talk about that too. But that's the reality, and say, okay, a few $100. Really? Do you expect yourself to get a promotion or a raise or things to improve? And usually they'll say yes. So okay. So maybe when you're going to purchase in an upward fashion, don't go as big. So if you bought a $500,000 home today and you go and the market crashes 30% and now it's an $800,000 home that you buy for $500,000, it's kind of a wash, right? You've got to be careful and sensitive to interest rates, of course. But at the end of the day, there's enough validation to where they're like, you know what? Yes. And then absolute worst case scenario, if you absolutely had to sell for a loss, but you got to be able to pull out your calculator and show them that their new property has depreciated more than their other property because it's a much more expensive house. Does that make sense? So once you put all this on paper, and I always do, I grab a piece of paper and I put them side by side. And at the end of the day, the new house is always better. That's how SCV leasing grew so big, so fast when the market crashed. Because everybody's like, well, I don't want to give my home away, or I can't afford, I don't have the equity, so it just grew. And that's what I told people. Who cares? Let's rent it. I'll babysit it until you're ready to sell it. Sounds like a plan, right? So people usually like that. The other way to get to the buyers is the, and we probably should role play it. Who wants to role play? Like right here on camera.
I'll do it with you.
All right. Thanks, Johnny. You're always my good person.
I wouldn't go that far.
Sure. All right. So you are going to argue, like I know you can, over this technical interest rate payment, and you're going to try to say blah, 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 blah. Okay? Sure. So, Johnny, honestly, you know, if the market does crash, your other home is going to depreciate enough, and the interest rates hopefully aren't sky high, which would probably destroy our economy. And we're pretty safe to say we got a pretty stable government that's not going to do that. Something that stupid. Would you agree?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I can't tell the future, but the idea of buying a home for $500,000 and 2 years from now it's worth $300,000 just kills me. How is that a good investment?
Well, it's a good investment because I know from past watching a couple different cycles, and we know from history it always comes back. So if you could have somebody that's actually going to pay off your mortgage for you, wouldn't you agree that's a good idea?
I would agree that that's a good idea if they're actually paying my mortgage, but if all of a sudden I take this 30% hit and then in turn would be taking a corresponding 30% hit in what I'm getting, now my mortgage is still the same. So now I'm upside down 30% in my monthly payments.
Yeah.
People don't get a 30% raise. How would you have me account for that 30%?
Well, one thing I know, thank God rental property is inflation proof, right? So other than that, have you considered Texas?
No.
It's a very stable market. If it goes up 1 or 2% a year, it's amazing. You know, so if you're looking for an investment, possibly you should rent here, throw all your money away, and buy an investment property in Texas. But that's one way to think about it. But Johnny, let me ask you a question. Do you have children?
Not at the moment.
Say yes. Everybody has children.
Yes. 3 of them, and I love them dearly.
All right. So would we agree the reality in Santa Clarita is everybody's got, what, 2.2 kids? Is that the number?
Yeah.
And they're all between the age of 0
up.
and 12 and all that. Everybody here has family. If they don't, we'll role play that later. Do you have children, Johnny?
Absolutely.
And how old are they?
7, 9, and 11.
7, 9, and 11. How do you feel about moving your children every year or two?
Horrible.
Stability is important in a family, would you agree?
Absolutely.
Right. So a 7-year-old comes to you and says, Daddy, I'd like to paint my room and I want to put, you know, Johnny the bear on the wall. And what are you going to say if that's your property that you're renting?
Absolutely. We'll get it done, son.
And you won't, because you'll be in big trouble and you'll be having to spend the money to bring that back when you move out.
It's a rental, yeah.
The reality is, and we talk to people all the time, you know, that are renting properties, they want to upgrade, they want to do certain things to the home. There's no pride of ownership. So if you got to tell your 7-year-old or your 11-year-old, they just got comfortable in the room, our landlord wants us to move. They're gonna sell this house. Or worse, if the market changes, the house forecloses, right? There's a lot of really bad things that happen to really good people. Heaven forbid, you don't want somebody to dictate your, Johnny, to me, you seem like the kind of person that likes to be in control of their life, the responsible type, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, we don't look at a home as an investment, we look at it as a home, right? Would your wife appreciate if you bought her a home and she got to decorate the way she wanted to?
Yes.
Paint, put out whatever she wants in the grass and build block walls and planters and whatnot.
Happy wife, happy life.
Do you agree there is something to be said for home pride of ownership?
I do.
Okay. So let's say you were going to lose a few $100s a month on the rental property, but you were at least buying a new home. Would that make sense for your family to go through an entire cycle without shaking them out?
Wow, Mike, I never thought of it that way.
And you know what? And that's one of the things I'm here to do. Not only can I use my calculator like there's no tomorrow, but I also need to remind you of pride of ownership. And our children these days have enough to worry about, don't you think? And in a world, and in Southern California, when the divorce rate is over 50%, do you think stability in the home might be something good, or moving year after year and being on the go like some kind of military family? Does that make sense?
No.
Right. So with the future investment opportunity, knowing Southern California is extremely stable, and would you say happy what?
Happy wife, happy life.
So you said it, right? All right. But more importantly, the kids, I think, need stability. So if I could show you how we can get you into this home and have it close as what you're paying for rent right now, would you still feel comfortable and confident knowing that you own this home? And there is a great chance of appreciation, even better chance of tax deductions. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. See how that goes? Mm-hmm. Now, everybody has some sort of emotional strings that you got to tap into and pull on. And it's not a cheesy salesperson thing, it's just helping people make good decisions, right? So some people get so wrapped up in the money that they forget about their families. And their families are the ones who really should dictate their decisions. And I'm not saying it's a husband decision versus a wife decision, because I've seen it the opposite way plenty of times. But the reality is we need to find that buyer's motivation, right? So when we're talking to a buyer, let's role play it. Hey, Johnny, this is Mike Bjorkman at HomeSmart. I saw you called on 123 Cherry Street. What's happening?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It looks to me like you're on our website looking to purchase a home soon.
I'm just taking a look, see what the market's doing, what the prices are before the crash.
Right. Oh, you feel it's going to crash too, huh?
Yeah.
Many people do. Do you own or rent now, Johnny?
I rent.
How long have you been renting?
7 years.
Oh my gosh. Does your CPA even talk to you anymore? I'm just kidding. And I do say things like that. I make light of very serious things. And then Johnny will say,
yeah, he's been telling me I need to buy, but I keep waiting for the crash because I don't want to throw my money away.
Right. Let me ask you a question, Johnny. Why would you be throwing money away?
Well, if I buy the house and all of a sudden it goes down in value, $50,000 or $60,000, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Do you feel you'd actually lose that money?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay. Well, with the tax deductions, with the chance of future appreciation in the market coming back, with the chance of a tenant possibly paying off that mortgage for you until the market does come back, do you feel you'd really lose that money?
Well, with a tenant, then I have to chase them for, rent. They're going to damage my house, and then I'm always beating down the doors. I have to deal with repair. That sounds awful.
It sounds like there's a property manager that I know that can handle that for you. So honestly, without kidding, I mean, I own plenty of rental properties. I have zero issues because I don't deal with it, right? And that property manager that I hire is a tax write-off. So anyways, Johnny,
I didn't know that.
If you are so worried about the market crash and losing money, why are you on my website?
Just curious.
You want to buy a home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask
Ultimately.
you this. Let me ask you this. Do you have a family?
I do.
Okay. Do you have a wife?
I do.
Okay. How do they feel about being moved every single year?
Oh, we've been in our rental, the same rental for 7 years, so they're
kidding.
happy. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God! I'd love to shake your landlord's hand. You've made him rich. Is that weird knowing that you paid your landlord's house off almost?
I tell you what, it does stink a little.
Yeah, man. I bet you that person's on a boat right now. Just kidding. Just kidding, Johnny. But seriously, what if you had Johnny's family paying off your mortgage? Would that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Right. So if you think you're going to lose $50,000 or $60,000, and if I could show you in reality how you would save 50 or 60, even if the market went down, would that make you want to buy a home even more?
Absolutely.
All right. Let me ask you this: if you could buy a home in the next 3 to maybe 5 months, would you be interested in doing so?
If the numbers work, yeah.
Gotcha. So I'm glad you brought up the numbers. It sounds like you're a numbers guy. You're worried about losing money. You just said the numbers work. You want to get a little analytical with me?
Sure.
Awesome. Scott Edwards is right behind you. He's one of our lenders at Skyline, one of our partners. What I like to have guys like you run through certain scenarios with really smart people. As a matter of fact, smarter than me. I'm just a sales guy. But I can get you in touch with him, and he can make sure, run those numbers side by side to make sure you're making the best decision for your family and for your pocketbook. Does that make sense?
It does.
Awesome.
I'd love
When
that.
can I tell him you'd be coming in?
Today at 3 p.m.
Okay. So see that flow? Is that real?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm enunciating things, and I'm saying things a little goofy so you guys can be somewhat entertained and get it. But that's real. You can have a conversation like that, right? Does anything feel icky or cheapy about that?
If anything, maybe a little more authentic, where you're shifting not just with the robotic scripting, but you're actually in repeating portions of their phrases, their words.
Right.
It shows, one, validates you're listening to them, but then on top of that, you're still a human with a sense of humor. And it's like, look, we're both just trying to get through this life, and I'm here to help you.
Right. Let's take that. Oh yeah, go ahead. Scott.
So I was just going to comment on, you say something and it's in your vernacular, you say it all the time, which is, wouldn't you agree? And I assume there's a reason you say that.
I don't even notice it.
You don't? It's not
just NLP, yeah.
Okay, it's an NLP thing because you're getting people to say yes and yes
Right.
and yes, right? So the idea is to get them.
Isn't that right? Makes
Right.
you feel comfortable.
Yes.
Nice little tie downs.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I just think it's a great little. Something I wrote down.
All right. All right. You guys want an NLP class the next couple of months?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes. Did I do that?
Boy, you're talented.
All right. So let's say one question.
Oh, no, it wasn't a question.
You want to role play? Good.
Oh, hell
Come
no.
on up.
I was just going to comment that at no time were you badgering this guy to buy a house or trying to convince him he could buy a house. You focused on his issue, his problem, his predicament, and at no time were you trying to make him buy a house. I really liked it. I liked how you did that.
Good. Yeah, because we don't want to make somebody buy a house that doesn't want to buy a
You weren't
house.
like the sleazy salesman kind
Right.
of
We just want to.
salesman. It
Yeah. We
was-
just want to make sure they're not making the wrong decision.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's take it a little bit differently, Johnny. Let's say, you know what, Mike? I think this is a little too much for me. Johnny, how would you like to talk to Scott and we go over some numbers side by side?
You know, I just logged in your website, and I appreciate the call back, but I'm just getting started. Like that's too much, too fast. I need to slow down. I haven't even had a chance to even look at my first house yet.
Gotcha. Do you want to see your first home?
I don't even know completely what I'm looking for yet.
Okay. And, and then one of the benefits of working with Team Bjorkman is that's what we help you with. We have a program that'll actually take you from start to finish, Johnny, and I promise you it's very slow. Okay? There's no pressure. There's no obligation. Everything is absolutely free. As a matter of fact, I think you should stop looking at homes right now and start looking for a really good CPA. Do you have one, or could I refer you one?
I've got a good tax guy.
Okay. Because what I know is when you sit down with your tax guy and go over the numbers, it's highly beneficial you buy a home. And did you know you could buy a home with little to nothing down right now? Do you know you could borrow from your 401k? Do you have credit issues, Johnny, that you're aware of? Have you run it lately?
Not that I'm aware of.
So you're perfect then. You're perfect for entering in this program. So what we do is we align you with a like-minded CPA that'll give you free, with no obligation, advice on taxes and home ownership. We align you with our Skyline partner, and then we actually slowly get to know you a little bit better and show you homes throughout the MLS like you're looking on our website. And then once we get a little bit closer, we start really looking hard for off-market homes to open up that range of properties for you to look at. Does that make sense?
Off-market homes?
Homes that are not on that internet yet.
No.
All the good deals never make it to the internet, Johnny.
Oh, so what I'm looking at on your site doesn't have those ones?
No, you're just getting an idea. What happens is, you've heard the inventory is low, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. We've had the lowest inventory today than we've had in years. So what happens is, anytime a homeowner calls me and says, I want to put my home on the market, I go over there, I put their home on the market. They probably need a week or two to clean their carpets and paint and plant flowers and, let's say, spruce the home up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then we have a certain day that we're going to pick. Typically 7 to 10 days is on the early side. So that means I have 7 to 10 days to do what we call a pre-marketing campaign, and I happen to be friends with a lot of real estate agents. Does that make sense? So we sell all the good ones before the signs even go up. So what happens is the leftovers, the dogs, let's say, end up on the internet. Right? And I shouldn't say that. Sometimes it's not true. Sometimes the good ones slip through on some of those agents that don't really do anything to market homes. Good ones occasionally will hit those websites as well. So I'll show you both. But I'm mostly interested in is getting you the best deal in the quickest amount of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'd really enjoy putting you on our program to where we can slowly, and again, free with no obligation, get you in the right mindset and put you on a plan to buy a home. And if you decide at any time this isn't right for you, no obligation. We shake hands and hopefully you'll refer a friend to me in the future. Does that sound fair?
That does.
Awesome. So where would you like to start? You want to talk to your CPA and I'll call you in a couple days?
That sounds good. I really want to just get some information. I don't really know where I'm going with this right now, and just to really gather what I need to make the best decision for my family.
All right, and that makes sense. So CPA and the lender would be first. We want to find out where you're comfortable with payments. And then once we find out where you're comfortable, have the CPA tell you how much those payments really end up being after your humongous write-off. And then at that time, you might want to ask your wife, hey, would you be interested in owning a home, not just renting a home? Remember, nobody wants to be the military family.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate your help.
Okay. Low pressure. We didn't force an appointment. We're just kind of, so I would go into my database and I'd just click them for a call in about 5 days. And that's it. I'd send a follow-up email. Hey, Johnny, it looks like you're on the right path to ownership. I knew you were a smart guy from the second I talked to you. Good luck. By the way, don't forget, here's my CPA, here's my lender. Feel free to reach out to them. That's it. Super simple like that. Do we tug a little bit? We gotta tug a little bit. That's just it. It's just opening up, being open and honest with the buyer and saying, why wouldn't you buy a home? Every buyer, everybody should buy a home in this market if they want to stay at least 3 to 5 years. Or interested in a rental property at some point. All right, what other problems have we had with buyers? Oshal, what kind of buyer issues do we have? This is a conversion class, so if we have any conversion issues.
Okay, let me help me out.
I have a realtor.
Oh, that's
My realtor's a family member.
You like that one, David?
For a
Since it-
friend.
you like it?
Friend.
Okay, yeah. Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to
Okay.
say. I just had it this morning.
All right, so Renee, I love role playing with you. Can I bug you with that?
Okay.
You're the best role player in the room. Johnny has nothing on you.
Oh, yeah,
He
sure.
tells me that all the time, too.
Renee, you're serious about buying a home in the near future, right?
Who am I?
Buyer.
Sorry. I'm the buyer.
Buyer.
Yes.
I'll be the buyer if you want.
No. Okay. Yes, I got it. Of course.
Okay, good. Now you mentioned you already have a realtor.
Yep.
Now, is this realtor somebody you're committed to? Is this realtor somebody you've been working with for a long time?
Oh yeah, I know them for a long time. We're BSF.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yep.
How do you feel about the progress of your home purchase with your BFF?
Well, they're trying. They're looking at everything, and then I send her some things, and
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But did you say you send her some things?
oh yeah, I'm on all the sites. I'm on Zillow and Redfin and Trulia, and so I send it to her, and then she calls me back about them.
Do you have a headache from doing all that work?
Well, she's kind of busy. Our kids are really good friends, so she's busy with the kids, and she picks up for me sometimes.
Oh my gosh, Renee, think back with me. Has there ever been a time where you've done business with a friend or family member, and if you think fast forward to today, does that relationship feel a little funny sometimes?
Well, Yeah, there was that one time I rented my rental to my sister-in-law.
Feels a little achy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Renee, let me tell you, one of the benefits of working with Team Bjorkman is we have a 21-point plan of action that we do all day, every day. It's kind of, I hate to say it, but we do things that other agents can't or won't. So the biggest thing that frustrates me right now is you said you're on umpteen websites looking for property.
Of course.
That makes zero sense to me because all those homes you're looking at are the leftovers. Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but all the good ones never make it to the internet.
What are you talking about? They're nice pictures.
They're really nice pictures, and let me tell you, I'm glad you said that. One of the reasons homes don't make it to the internet is because we like to spruce up homes, right? We like to paint them and clean the carpet. Would you agree if you were going to sell a home, you'd like to do those things?
Yeah, you should, but some of those pictures, have you seen them? Oh my gosh, I can't believe people live like that.
I know. It's really scary. And I am so glad I don't work with people like that. But here's what I want you to understand. While those beautiful pictures were being taken, other buyers are buying up those good homes. So the fact that you say, see some of these homes that aren't so great, those are the leftovers. How would you like to have first shot at homes?
Well, how could I do that?
That's what I was talking about, that 21-point plan of action. Our team works all day, every day, finding off-market homes. Homes that have not hit those websites. Because that's why we can avoid multiple offers. Does that make sense? Nobody likes a bidding war, right, Renee? So
nope.
How would you like to actually spend a day or two to think about it before you wrote an offer?
Well, that would be better for me, right?
Yeah, it would. And unfortunately, and I'm not saying anything wrong about anybody, but you yourself said she's really busy.
She's busy.
Right.
But she's my friend.
I know. And that's the worst situation to be in. Does your friend make your house payment?
No.
Does your friend pick your home?
No.
If I could save you maybe 10...
But she knows what I like.
Right.
Yes.
If I knew what you liked and I could save you 10 to 20% and find you an off-market property, would you look at that with me?
10 to 20% of the cost?
10% off the cost of market value.
Ooh. Well, that sounds intriguing. I'd have to talk to my husband.
Fantastic. Do you think your husband's a reasonable person?
Oh my gosh, sometimes, but...
If I could save him 10 to 20% off market value and not have multiple offers in a bidding war, how good of a friend is that anymore?
What would I say to her?
You want me to coach you on that?
Oh my gosh.
When we get together tomorrow, I want to show you a couple properties. When we get together tomorrow, I'm going to spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes having that conversation. You see, at Team Bjorkman, we've sold hundreds of homes in the last couple of years, and everybody has a friend in the business. Let me ask you something, Renee. Do you know any other realtors besides that one?
Oh, yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
It seems like every other neighbor is a real estate agent, right?
Right.
Now, since we know none of them make your house payment, none of them pick your home out for you, wouldn't it make sense to have a team on your side that knows what you like, finds better deals and values, and gets you in there faster for less money?
It would, but you made me sign that thing.
You signed the thing?
Yeah.
What did you sign?
Something that I would work with her, regardless, no matter what.
Now, you mentioned this was a friend of yours, right?
I know, but she said that her broker told her it was really important for her to sign that. I mean, for me to sign that thing.
All right.
It didn't matter to her,
Right.
but she said he
Let's
did
take the legal schmiegel out of this. If you had a conversation with your friend and said this was affecting your friendship and you really didn't want to move forward because you want to salvage this relationship, would that make sense to have that conversation?
Yeah, but I know her husband just lost his job and they really need this.
Renee, do you want to make their house payment or your house payment?
I'll have to talk to my husband. Oh.
And you know what? And that's fine. As a matter of fact, how would you feel if I talked to your husband too?
Oh, that'd be good.
Awesome. Because how I know is I've done this a lot of times, and typically the husband likes to hear all this information firsthand, and sometimes that friend, if we can emotionally take that out of it, we can show you how working with a real professional team might save you a lot of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Why don't you give me your husband's phone number? Let me handle all the dirty work for you, and you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Yeah, but I gotta talk to him first and let him know.
Okay, talk to him first.
Okay.
What's his number?
Yep, that's his number.
Okay. When are you gonna call it?
Oh, I'm gonna text him. He's really busy. I'll text him in a minute.
How about I call about 6:30 tonight after dinner? Does that work?
Yep, that sounds good. Make it 7 because he likes the gym.
7 o'clock, and he's missing all
He's
the
in a
good
better
deals.
mindset after the gym.
All right, there you go. See? So, and that's harder than most, right? That's much harder than most.
By the way, Mike, if you were talking to me, we'd be out looking at homes already.
Okay.
Told my friend thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, it's terrible to work with your friends.
Yeah.
Like when I work with friends, my own personal friends, I make sure they're working with the team. I don't want to work with them because I know what's going to happen. The smallest thing happens, now I'm the jerk. Even though it's the other agent's fault, right? We know it's the listing agent's fault every time, and it's so far out of our control. They start talking to some of your other friends, small groups. Remember, we don't talk in small groups. And you miss one barbecue with all your buddies, now you're the big asshole. Dang it, sorry.
So how would you get her out of that buyer broker?
Yes, that's what I wanted.
Okay. So let's say tomorrow I call you back. Renee, are you ready to have that conversation with your friend?
Yeah, my husband was tossing and turning all night. Oh my gosh.
Okay. There's 2 really simple things. You know, tell your friend that, how about the past experience you had with your, was it sister-in-law?
My BFF.
The one that, the rental property thing you were talking about?
Oh yeah.
So why don't you go and explain to her very carefully and slowly, look, I know you're busy. I have off-market properties that are available to me. It feels like I'm doing all the work, and I just want to let us out of this because I want to be free to not damage our relationship, and I'm already feeling a little weird, and I don't want to feel weird when we go out Saturday night with the girls. I want us to just be our friends and be friends forever. Those are the types of conversations that adults have, right? And if you can't have that conversation with her, maybe that's not a real tight friendship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, could you give her
terrible.
some of your commission?
What? So wait, you want me to get you a good deal?
Well, I sort of talked to her last night, and she
But-
said maybe if you're willing to give her, you know, something.
You know what? What's her name and number? Let me call her. Right? Honestly, that's how it would go. What the? No.
Let me write that down.
It's real.
And I've been in that position too. And there's nothing more fun than getting on the phone saying, "Are you out of your mind? You want me to pay you because you're a lazy piece of shit that won't do your job?" And let me talk to your broker too. I will get you out of this contract so fast your head will spin. You're not doing your job. I'm doing my job. Right? Okay, hold on. Here you go. Cancel. Bye-bye.
But Mike, I think the reality is that would probably be a rare scenario because almost,
rare.
Yeah, most of the people I talk to, I mean, that they actually sign.
It's all of that's rare.
Right, because a lot
But
of
that
these-
was a good, that's why I like to run Renee, right? She's
Yeah, 'cause
good.
I'm finding, like, especially the millennial group,
Mhm.
they're not signing anything.
They're not signing it.
They're
They're
like,
working
if you
with
saw-
multiple agents.
If
Right.
you send me the house, then I'll buy with you.
Right.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
saw an interesting
Whoever
statistic
finds
the
me
other
what I
day.
want, I'll go with.
Yeah, we saw an infographic the other day on Facebook, and I can't remember who published it. It might have been Zillow, but most millennials are buying property without ever telling their friends they're buying property.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting statistic. I was like, wow, if I could just get to these people before they get to their friends, that's amazing, right? So that's why we're putting out the information that we do, to try to make them get a hold of us first. Because, man, if they're not telling anybody, who's millennial? Like, we have plenty. Do you guys feel comfortable talking to your friends about your personal life? See, when we were growing up, we loved talking about our personal life. We talked to, how much do you make? How much do you make? What's your credit score? And now the millennials seem to be pretty like guarded, and like they're like, I don't really want to talk to you about that. And I don't know what it is, but it just seems like the more and more millennial clients we have, they don't want to. And a lot of them come to us and work with us, and just like, do you know any other? I know tons of agents, but I want to work with you, Mike, because you know what you're doing. You've been doing this a long time. My parents bought their first home from you, and I just want this quiet little thing to happen. And then next thing you know, they're on Facebook, oh, we moved in. You're like, what the hell? Like, damn. So anyways, so that was one sort of a conversion. What are some other types of conversions that we should go over?
How about, because this is when I get to now with all this technology,
Mhm.
why do I need an agent? I can just go online, I can find it myself, and then they have all these, online discount brokers now.
Right.
So why wouldn't I just do that?
All right, you know, Renee. Daryl, I love that you said that, and that is like probably the smartest thing I've heard. How much are they giving you back of their commission?
I don't know. I think I read it was 2%, 2.5%, something like that.
They're giving you back 2.5%.
Yeah, I just made up the number.
Okay, let's say 1%.
1%,
Right? Just to
I think that's actually
Yeah.
real. It's 1 to 1.
yeah,
One to one half.
1 to 1.5. So Daryl, let me ask you a
1.5%.
question. If you knew that you were overpaying for a home to get 1.5% back, would you appreciate that?
Not at all.
Right. Do you know why these online brokers can afford to do that?
No, I don't.
And I'm so glad that I'm able to have this conversation with you.
Okay.
Daryl, the good deals never make it to the internet.
Okay.
They don't. There's 1,500 agents in Santa Cruz. We all network together. We all work together. And we've already been through this whole sprucing up thing. We don't need to go through that again. But that's what I would say.
Okay.
So you're actually getting the leftovers on the internet.
I didn't realize that.
So if all that person has to do is digitally write up a contract, send it in, you're going to pay full price or above for it, and they know it, why wouldn't they give you that commission back? It's terrible to know you're getting the overpriced, underconditioned dogs of the market. I'll give you back too. Daryl, I promise you, if you go out looking and do all the work and find your own home, call me and I'll write up the contract. I'll give it back to you too.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be better knowing that somebody experienced is going to do that for you?
Yes.
Come on, let's stop playing games. I'm going to find you a house 3 to 5% below market value. I'm going to make sure there's no other offers on it. I'm going to do everything I can all day, every day to find you a good deal, right? So if you went to work and somebody said, hey, why don't you give half of your paycheck back after you've worked hard? Does that make sense?
Not at all.
Of course not. None of this stuff makes sense. Except for I like their model. They're very smart because there are dumb enough people, Daryl, to fall for that.
Okay.
Overpriced, underconditioned crap is on those websites. All the good deals never make it. So if you knew you were going to pay overpriced to get 1.5% back, or if you knew there's a really good chance we can get you fair market value 3 to 5% below, wouldn't that make sense to have the seller pay my fee, you pay me 0, but get a better deal on the home?
Makes a lot more sense.
Do you want to try that before you try to overpay for a dog?
Sure.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
Yes.
You guys like that? What else did I leave out? I feel like I left a lot of stuff out of that. You can get into the representation, the professionalism, the relationships I have with the other people.
Negotiating skills.
And the fact that online discount brokerages are blackballed by the real estate community. So we might as well just go to it. You know what, Daryl? All that stuff I just told you sounds amazing, right?
Yes.
Here's the problem. Now, in your industry, what do you do?
I'm a property manager.
Okay, you're a property manager. If you knew all the property managers were giving half of their money back for no reason to clients, how would you feel about those people?
Wouldn't like them at all.
Would that be tarnishing your industry?
Yes.
That's what it's doing to ours. So any of those homes that you're going to write an offer on, how do you think us listing agents feel about those dirtbags tarnishing our industry?
So you're saying you're
not going to get the home? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
okay.
So that's a very real problem.
I didn't think about
Daryl.
that is.
So not only that, do you think those people have much negotiation skills?
No.
Do you think if they could actually do their job right, they would have to give away half their paycheck?
Probably not.
Do you think if they were actually working hard and marketing and doing all the things necessary to find you a home, do you think they'd have to give half their money back?
Probably not, but so why are there so many popping up? I mean, I'm seeing them like everywhere here on the radio.
It's simple. It's
Seems
technology.
to be like a growing thing. Okay?
It's technology. If we know 20 to 30% of homes are sold before the sign ever goes up, 70% of the dogs still hit the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with all the technology, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of real estate websites, there's enough people like you that might fall for this. Now think about it. If they're 21 to 25-year-old Silicon Valley punks setting up in an office somewhere in flip-flops, and all they have to get is a couple hundred a month of you, they're making millions, right? And it seems like they're doing a good service. It seems like they're adding value. They say they are. But how could that be? They've never seen our town. They've never lived here. They don't know our schools. They don't know where to shop. They don't know what neighborhoods are good. They don't know. Are you willing to risk your biggest investment of your life with some flip-flop wearing, pot-smoking Silicon Valley kid? Right? That's the reality of this.
I didn't think about all that, but
No, and then that's my job. And,
Okay.
you know, unfortunately, all industries have some challenges, and that's ours, and that's okay. That's the reason Team Bjorkman will be here for the next 20 years, and they come and go as the market shifts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
One thing, all that's awesome, and just also to add in there, obviously you work hard. What is your career? You say what you do for a living.
Mhm.
Oh, you must spend 40 or 50 hours a week doing that. I bet that's pretty tiring. Oh, you have a family too, dinner, little Jimmy has soccer practice. Sounds like your schedule is incredibly packed. And you know what? And this discount agent is still making you do all the research. You look at all the neighborhoods. You find out if the house even has Melrose. You have to do all that work, and then you're still even going to give them? How do you even have time for that? That sounds exhausting.
That's good.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't hear, because he whispered that, you know, how do you have time? You have to do all the work, take all the risk, all that stuff, and that other agent's the one getting paid, and you have a family and that. And you can start even getting to that emotional side. Like, look, this is how we support our family. We do things that are right. We do things that are the right way and work hard for the money we got. I think the biggest thing to focus on is saying, that is so stupid. The seller pays our fees. Does that make sense to you guys? The seller pays our fees. So if you're going to ask for fees back, what? If it's a discount, what service is getting discounted for you? It only makes sense, right? You can't have it both ways. You don't get exceptional service for less money. It doesn't work, especially in real estate. The marketing fees are astronomical. Do you know it costs so much money just to even be in this business, right? So we can talk like that. What other conversion things do we want to talk about?
I'll only deal with the listing agent. They have the inside scoop.
God, that's such a good one too. And how many of those have we blown out in the last couple months? You know, Elisa, I can appreciate the fact that you want to work with a listing agent. You have to tell me why.
Well, they have the connection to the seller, and I'm going to get a deal. You won't get me the deal.
Right. So the deal. Are you okay?
I have a terrible cold. I got the Lindsay plague.
Oh,
Renee, over
I heard you then sit next to her.
there. So,
you couldn't have told me this before I picked you up.
and on the outside, Elisa, that makes such good sense. Let's talk reality, can we?
Sure.
So the seller has agreed to pay this agent X amount of commission regardless of what happens, right? The seller has not waived the agency, the legal agency of that agent to tell you what is a good deal or not. You would agree that everything's selling for full price in this market, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So me as the listing agent, I'm going to go to the seller and say, I have a Lisa here that's willing to pay $500,000 full price for this house. Sign it. I did my job. They get their full commission. Does that make sense? So if you were to write an offer, and do you think that maybe multiple homes, multiple offers would be the situation where that listing agent might slide yours in and make sure you got it because he was going to get all the commission?
Exactly.
And that makes perfectly good sense too. Let me tell you something. If there's an agent that is going to slide an offer in and ignore all the other ones, do you have any idea how illegal that is?
I'm sure it is.
It's
But
very
they get
illegal.
me the deal.
And imagine what they're going to do to you if they're willing to do that to the entire real estate industry and their sellers. Imagine you're going to overpay for the home. There's going to be zero negotiating on your side. While you're doing this, you're missing 3 or 4 or 5 other homes that might be better because you're spending so much time trying to get a hold of the listing agent. How are you finding these listing agents?
I'm just going online.
Ah, yes. And do we know the online scripts now?
Yep.
Dogs, under condition, overpriced, heaps of shit. Right? So you just have to explain that. If you still want to work with the listing agent after a 5-minute speech about that, you're cuckoo, right? So did I say enough, or do I need to say more on why they shouldn't work with a listing agent? That's all it usually
Yeah.
takes.
But I was just thinking about, like, I when I talk to somebody, the first thing I usually say is, well, I understand that. I understand why you think you might get a deal, but you have to understand the primary responsibility of that listing agent is to the seller,
Right.
right? So, you know, who you think they're going to put as a priority, right?
I like to put the fear of God in them and just say, look, you're not going to find homes because you're looking on the internet.
Right.
If you the only reason you're running into multiple offers in this scared feeling is because you're hitting homes that are 3 weeks on the market. If I could show you homes that aren't on the market yet, or at least work my butt off to find them while we're looking at those also, doesn't that make better sense? You know, who's over there? Tell them to shut up. Who was that? Oh, we like delivery guys. Just kidding.
Good talk.
Their conversion, buyer conversion. Think of other ways. Open houses, you guys want to do some of that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's really weird that we went all this time without talking about an open house buyer. Who's got an open house this weekend? You?
Am I the only one that has an open house?
Are you guys having a problem finding them, or you just don't want to do them?
Easter weekend.
Easter weekend. Exactly, which means that you're going to have more people going to your house.
In 2 weeks, who's going to do an open house? Okay. All right, so you guys understand that there's 3 unbelievable training opportunities for you. Number 1, we have 2 hours of open house training on our podcast. Right? That is the best open house training you're going to get in this nation, period. There's also a YouTube video of open houses on our YouTube channel. And there's also the Club Wealth training on clubwealth.com if you click on blogs. Those 3 trainings combined, you'll have everything you've ever dreamed of to have the baddest ass open house there is. So conversion in an open house is extremely important. There's many different theories and many different ways. Since I've done thousands of them and sold thousands of buyers from them, I think I have it figured out, right? And it is the low pressure approach. Would you guys agree that in most situations in this world, the low pressure approach feels better for everybody?
Yeah.
Right? Who really likes walking on a car lot?
Won't do it.
No. We will spend hours and hours and hours online doing research before we dread that car lot walk, right? You just see them waiting for you. That's how I feel going to an open house, and I'm an agent, right? Sometimes as agents we forget what the general public feels like. Like, there's a lot of open houses I'll drive by because I just don't want to see an agent. I just don't. Sometimes I like to screw with them, but I got to be in the mood where I wear these colored pants, right? And then it's fun. But normally I'm like, I don't even want to see another agent. So the public thinks like that too. They're like, I'm going to walk into Jaws. Like, this agent's going to jump on me, attack me, and freaking just maul me to death. And so we have to have the low pressure approach. So when they walk into the home, it's very clear and evident. We have to be like, hey, how are you? I pretend to be busy every single time. Phone, computer, wiping something, messing with food, just so they feel comfortable that they can walk in the door and be like, oh, okay. Whew. You know, hey, what's up? I'm Mike. That's what mostly happens. If you stand at the door, they're walking up there going, honey, would it be weird if we turned them around? I mean, that's how it is. And I know agents that do that. They greet them at the door, hey, hi, I'm Mike, and they're just like, holy shit. And I've tested this with my team. I've gone and watched, and I've tested this, and I'm like, oh my God, you're scaring the crap out of them. Hey, sign this. Sign in right here. Here's a book, sign. It's good for the seller. It's good for you, safety. They're just like, oh God. Be far away. Say, hey, would you like to enter in for the $100 gift certificate for Salt Creek? Just simply sign in on the iPad here. I'll be right with you. Super low pressure. I don't want to sign anything. Hey, let me do it for you. You want to be in the drawing, right? No, I don't. Fair enough. That's it. You don't have to say, but the seller wants me. It's my company policy. You can say that. You could try that, but you're just going to make it weird and awkward. We have to pretend they're an online lead. They're no different. They're probably a little better than an online lead because you get to tonality with them, face to face with them, and just say, hey, my name's Mike from HomeSmart. What are you guys doing? I'm just cruising around. Oh, you live in the area? Yeah. Oh, fantastic. What model do you have? We were looking for sellers, right? Always looking for sellers first. But when the buyer walks in, they're like, oh, we live across town in Canyon Country. We're looking to move to Valencia. Oh, fantastic. When would that be? Oh, as soon as we find a house. You mean you're looking right now? Like, you really want to buy a house? That kind of stuff. And they're going to say yes or no, right? If it's a long-term lead, like, oh, we're just kind of, like Johnny said earlier, we're just kind of looking at the website, getting a feel for things. The questions come out, is this a price range you're comfortable in? I don't know, how much is this house? Right? You haven't even given a flyer or nothing. And you go, oh, I thought maybe you came in off the internet or something. Whatever you have to say. Just so it feels such low pressure that they're like in control a little bit. How much do you know about the neighborhood? Would you like to know more? We're not talking about this house. We're not. And everybody says at this point, Mike, you're supposed to be selling this home for the seller. What did we say last night, Cindy? These are our, that word that we used, what do you?
Oh,
surrogate.
yeah.
Cindy and I were on the phone at 9 o'clock last night talking about open houses. Wow, what the heck were we doing? Anyways.
Vehicle.
The vehicle. Yeah, that's a better word. All right, so this is a vehicle that we're using to pick up clients. Primarily sellers, secondarily buyers. For all intents and purposes, working on buyers. Is this a neighborhood you're looking in? Is this a price range you're comfortable in? When do you plan on moving? Very simple, low pressure questions. And then just go for it. Hey, if I knew of another home like this not on the market, would you want to see it? Yeah, we would love that. So if they say that, they're probably pretty sure, you're pretty sure they're a buyer. They're not a secret seller, like a lot of those guys are like, oh, don't tell them we live in the neighborhood. They do that, it's weird, I don't know why. But fantastic, what price range are you most comfortable in? Yeah. If I found a home in that price range that's not on the market, are you ready to buy? Super simple. Remember, in this market, what do buyers want?
A deal.
Yep.
Inventory.
Yeah.
They want a house. They're excited to even find a house. It's amazing to me that we have more open houses going on now on the weekends than ever before. Like if I was on city council, I would ban open house signs. It makes our town look like crap on the way. I'm like, what is going on?
McBean.
Yeah, like dude, the other day it was windy. I was like dodging them. Holy moly! But the reality is they're good, motivated buyers, and we need to treat them as so. But we need to use that off-market property script with them. Even in a really good market, if the inventory is super flooded, the market, the scripts just change a little bit. If I found one of the new foreclosures coming on the market that the asset manager already knows that's going to be 5% less next month, would you want to see that one with me? The buyers are still wanting a good deal, right? You all yelled out deal. First is they want to find a home, then they want to get it for a good deal. So the scripts just change a little bit. So if you can start using those scripts now, it's always the unknown. Like my wife, for instance, we were at Topanga and she wanted this new YSL purse. And the guy goes, and this guy was awesome, you know, what if, and I'm dying, and he goes, but the new one's coming out in a month. Would you like me to save one for you? I'm like, what the? I'm about ready to punch the guy. And she's like, yes, yeah. After I just paid like 28 grand for, or 2,800 bucks for this one. And I'm like, what? I go, that was genius. I'm like, do you want to work like in the valley? Like, you have a real estate license? But now I'm buying two, right? Because he said, it was that unknown. Like, she's like, what does it look like? He's all, it's exquisite. You won't believe it. I'm sitting here going, oh my God.
You did that too well.
Right? And like,
Edit that.
I could totally sell purses. If I could wear these pants, I could sell a purse.
You might have to wear some pink.
No. Do I have pink on? No.
Yeah.
Underneath the pants.
So anyway, Andy, this is one of those times I'm like,
That's on
big, give me
camera.
a gum before I kill you. You're not buying 6 grand of purses. Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of open houses, and I do a lot with Elise over there. And one thing that she does that I've never seen anybody else do, is she brings a lot of the MLS listings, especially your properties, and is selling them to the buyers, show them to be, you know, for pre-marketing and pre-listing and stuff like that. So
She's awesome.
yeah,
She's trained by the best.
yeah.
So, and just so you know, the more paraphernalia you have at an open house, the better. There was a statistic, not a statistic, but something I saw on like INLA or one of those things, and it was about, and I'm very into personality styles and things that make people feel uncomfortable and weird, but it's like, imagine you go to Zuma Beach. Y'all been to Zuma, right?
Yeah.
The most beautiful people in Southern California are naked everywhere. And it was the thing was about, how do you feel walking up to this? And how do the people around you accept you as a new person coming into the little pod of people, right? And it was interesting because by the end of the segment, they were saying, after interviewing everybody, it was normal and okay to have a nice dress, an umbrella, a chair, a kid in tow, and have all this stuff because people thought that was really cool and normal and you're coming out for a nice day. But you were the weirdo if you just rolled up with a towel and nothing else, and they're like, oh, this guy's just coming to just scope out the chicks, and it's just fascinating to watch this. And I feel like at an open house, it took me, I couldn't even tell you how long it took me to do open houses, because I would have full-size laptops, full-size printers. I would have, you know, the big brochure stands like the frickin' chamber has, and I'd put every single brochure possible, and I'd have everything, all the real estate books, the real estate magazines, and I'd just be this wealth of information, and people dug that. They were like, whoa, it's kind of like going to the board of realtors for them, and like, everything I could possibly need is here. But it was important to me to say, would you like to know the value of your home? Don't leave, go look at the home, just give me your address and your email, and I'll fire this off to you, and give them a listing presentation. And by the way, why would you be moving? Upsize, downsize, 1031, I had all the brochures. You know, you're still looking at other homes? Hey, look at this magazine. If there's anything in here, don't call those agents. They're just gonna drive you crazy. Call me, you know, and I just gave everything away for free. So I had so much paraphernalia, like I'm talking about, it worked out better. So I'd even go to the extent I'd run in the neighborhood from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and then I moved to Saugus from 3 to 4, 4 to 5. And then if it was something astronomical or way out in Acton, then I'd run it in the MLS. You know, we're so blessed today to have hotspots and smaller computers and printers and just the coolest stuff ever to be able to really serve the clients right there. But remember, if you're buying a home and you can't find one and you're desperate for inventory and you walk into an open house and you see this super professional person that just has their whole shop set up in there, they are so knowledgeable with everything, they're going to say, that is the guy, our girl, I want to buy a home from. I've never seen such a professional setup. And you can sit there, right there, and run payments, especially if Scott's there, one of the Skyline partners are there, run payments and freaking handle everything right then and there. You can say, here's every property in the MLS, let me write down everything that you want, don't want, let's get you pre-qualified. I mean, you can do everything and have a full-blown buyer consultation right there. There's nothing wrong with that. Why, again, I love doing open houses with partners, especially if you're women here, you have to. But that way, when other people come in, you can have that other set go and go. It depends on how busy your open house is, right? But honestly, at the end of the day, if you got 1 or 2 people that wanted to buy now, was that a successful day?
Yeah. Yes.
If you knew you made 20 grand from sitting on your ass typing on a computer, that's a successful day in a lot of people's businesses, right? Yeah. And I have agents fight me and say, no, I want to say hi to everybody. No, you can't bond with them. But if you were sitting there with a husband and wife and the kids are digging through the pirate box or the chest, digging out toys and having fun and coloring and whatnot, and those other, you lost 3 or 4 of them, but you knew these were good, it's all right, it's okay. If they say they want to buy now and you're the person to find them a home, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with letting a couple others struggle out. But it's okay to say, hey, type in that iPad, I'm going to get you in the $100 drawing, and just check in over there and we'll make sure we call you and let you know if you win. You know, that's okay too. But these people, if 1 or 2 happens, you know, and we just had a conversation, I think, Chambers over here, she's like, what do we do open houses from? And they're like, oh, 11 to 4. I'm like, finally Johnny comes on and says, no, Mike would say 10 to 6, right? You got 4 more hours of a day you're screwing up anyways to have a better chance of getting people in, right? So that's the reality of it. But remember, you have access to everything these people are dreaming of. You have homes and this computer and printer and all these brochures and printouts, and they're just like, oh my God, you got everything. Or the other agent that's sitting there and they might have a laptop but nothing else, and they're like, hey, what's up, man? Sign in. Nope. Effing sign in. Seller wants sign in. By the way, I know I barely let you through the door. It's a really big difference. Huge difference. And it's no different than when we were role playing on the phone. You know, mirror and match their personality styles. Give them a little space. Like when you walk up to a seller to go list their home, knock, knock, 3 big, huge steps back. This is their home. Don't look like a burglar ready to rape them. You know, back up a little bit and get, you know, just be normal. Anyway, so conversion on open house buyers. Does that make sense? Does anybody want to debate that? Nope. There's usually somebody that wants to debate that. No? So we agree that we don't attack them at the door. We agree that we offer them off-market properties. All right, what other conversion? Is this working? Is you guys like this?
Yeah.
Is this helping today?
Quick question, maybe a technical
Girls
question.
first.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't see you.
I have a question. So I do a little bit of both on open houses. When you guys have someone coming to the open house, some agents will shadow them through the house and watch them go through. I find that kind of steers them away, but at the same time, I've had deals where that actually gets me the deal and gets them into another house, talking to them. Depends on the personality type.
And I'm glad you asked that question. When you listen to the podcast, again, if you haven't, it talks very specifically about that. During that process of going through a home, it's very, oh my God, it's the car salesman. I'm not even lying. Last night I was at Ashley Furniture. Have you guys been there?
Yes, and they follow you through everywhere.
Dude, like, I'm like, get off of me. And even a couple months ago, I actually told this chick, I'm like, stop. You're a freak. She's like looking through the thing. And like, I'm like, I'm afraid to sit down. Like, where are they? But just last night, and I know the store doesn't have it. I tried anyways, and I'm like, all right, let's just go look. And the dude is doing that, and I'm like, oh, I just want to get out of here. And my wife's like, no, let's just check in, maybe this and that. But he did something that was really cool, and this is what I'm going to tell you. He knew we were leaving, and he had guilt something. And what I call is guilt food at an open house. There's the iPad to register for the drawing. There's brochures, there's MLS, there's off-market properties like Elise is really good at keeping. She's her own little MLS. And she does, and we have all these things that they want. As you're casually talking to them and asking them qualifying questions, oh, you're looking for a foreclosure? I have a list here. Oh, you're looking to do a 1031 exchange? Come here, I have a little form for you that'll take you through the process. Those are the types of things that I'm like, okay. But last night, the guy had guilt food for me. He goes, you've been in here before, haven't you? Dude's never seen me. I've never seen him. I'd remember this freak. And he's like, you've been in here before, huh? You bought furniture here before? I'm all, yeah. I bought this there. Honest to God, I bought this at Ashley Furniture when we built this office. And I'm like, yeah, I totally bought some things here. He goes, I'm going to invite you to the VIP event. And he pulls out an envelope with his name on it, and it's his crap in it. He goes, Friday night from 4 to 7, I think it is, we're having a 50% off entire store sale.
They have that every Wednesday, one Wednesday a month from 6 to 9 p.m. Ashley Furniture, the whole store is 50% off.
And this one's Friday night.
Go in there and hope it's that day.
And this one's Friday night. So, but dude, here I go. I'm over with the guy now. I'm Mike. What's your name? Thank you for following me around. I feel we bonded. Because now he's adding value to what I was doing. You know, if you said, if I could show you a foreclosure or a short sale not yet on the market, would you see that with me? It's no different than saying, we're having a 50% off sale, and I have the coupon in this envelope with my name on it. He's like, wait, what are you looking for? Well, nothing. Well, do you have any friends looking? I'm like, just give me the envelope, I'll be back. Yeah. But it's very real. And I'm just like, okay. How do we get this guy to look a little different? Maybe get him a real estate license? I'm like, but he did it so good. He's like, wait, don't leave. You're gonna regret it. You've been here before, right? And I'm like, why? What are you doing? Like, did I leave my keys here last time? I'm like, see what I'm saying though? It was a reason for us to stop, get involved. You know, now I have the dude's card. I have his VIP coupon. He's gonna get credit for bringing us back in. You know, the whole deal. It was just a beautiful setup. What types of things can you guys do like that? Pretty crazy, huh?
It's awesome.
That's your unique value proposition, your unique selling proposition. Those are the types of things that'll convert buyers.